Well, coming up on today's show, Renault tests a Zoe with CCS Combo charging. Tesla slashes the price of their solar systems, and we answer your question of the week answers. Well, first of all, good morning, good afternoon and good evening, wherever you are in the world. Welcome to EV News Daily. It is Sunday, the 18th of November, and it's Martyn Lee here, and I've been through every EV story I've had time to find today, so you don't have to. Hello to our newest member of the Patreon gang, and officially a new podcast producer of this show, Colin Stevenson. Thank you very much, Colin, for joining the podcast. And just like the Plug Seeker a couple of days ago, that's his screen name, if you like, here in the UK, the Plug Seeker. It's what he'll be known by, if you like, joining our Patreon in the last couple of days. If you want to support the podcast, by the way, patreon.com/EV News Daily. Well, thank you very much to myev.com. It's the marketplace in the USA where you can buy and sell and learn about used electric cars. If you're in the market for buying or selling your used electric car, check out myev.com. Thanks to them, they provide each week's question of the week, and we'll answer your question of the week answers at the end of today's news, which we'll drop into very quickly today. First of all, we'll start with Renault. One of those pictures that ended up on the internet, and I'm not sure if it was meant to go on the internet, but all of a sudden it became a thing because it was on the internet. Let me explain. Roland van der Put. Roland is the head of network technology, the charging network, which is Fastned. Now, he was invited to an event and he shared an image of a Renault Zoe prototype. Now, the prototype underneath the Renault Zoe, if you don't know, by the way, maybe it lives somewhere in the world that you're not familiar with this car. Very, very popular small city car based on the Clio platform, but with either a 22 or a 40 kilowatt hour battery and AC charging only. So 22 or 44 kilowatt AC charging only. I've got the 22 kilowatt AC charging. That does us fine. It charges overnight, to be honest, every night, and then we just use it during the day for pootling around town. Well, my wife's car, but anyway. And so they've long said, wouldn't it be an amazing car if you had DC fast charging on it? And of course, Renault, part of the Nissan, Renault, Mitsubishi alliance, have every interest in making the next generation Renault Zoe a very successful car. So will they move on from AC charging? The answer is, well, maybe, because this picture ended up online, and it's a case of maybe doing 2 + 2 = 5, because Renault haven't actually said that the new Zoe will come with DC fast charging, but let's face it, they are testing it, and so hopefully, fingers crossed, it could come with that. According to Mark Kane at InsideEVs, the next generation Renault Zoe is expected to maintain 22 kilowatt AC charging through its Type 2 plug, which is what I've got at the moment. But thanks to the DC charging on it, the charging time during long-distance travels could be reduced significantly. That would be amazing for any car to have 22 kilowatt AC charging and to have DC fast charging. Well, you're in like Tesla territory there. Like the early Tesla Model S's had really fast AC charging before that got knocked down to about 7 kilowatts on the newer ones, being replaced, of course, by DC fast charging, which is fine, but to have the best of both worlds, well, that's kind of interesting on what is a small city car. Let's face it, I paid £6,000 for that car that is sitting in the garage next to me, and it's 2 years old. That's about $8,000 or something. Okay, so it's a battery rental, it's a battery lease. But that's still a lot of car for very, very little money. Roland, going back to Roland van der Put, the head of network tech at Fastned, says on Twitter, "I'm at the testing symposium in Arnhem today. I feel like I'm in a candy store with all the cars and chargers being tested with CCS chargers. A Porsche Taycan." Yes, it's spelt Taken, pronounced Taycan. Tesla Model 3, Mercedes EQC, Renault Zoe, Audi e-tron, BMW i3, and many more. Man, I would love to have been to that. One of the commenters on InsideEVs forum goes by the name of Mustang Salad, nice, said this: "Nissan is doing a disservice to EV adoption by making charging needlessly more complicated than it has to be. I think in this case he's referring to CHAdeMO. They were the first out the door and arguing that CCS was a stalling tactic, if you want. It's clear at this point the rest of the industry is behind CCS for Europe and North America. Nissan is in a position to end this. I was hoping the Generation 2 Leaf would support both connectors. Maybe the long-range version will get it. I'm not hopeful, says that commenter. Well, that's a really interesting comment. Okay, so it's a little bit negative, but let's face it, most forums on the internet are hardly the most positive, life-affirming places to go to. But he has an interesting point, actually. The big holdout of CHAdeMO is, of course, Nissan with the Leaf, the world's most popular EV. I should add, 300,000 of them sold. The Model 3 from Tesla catching up very quickly, but still, the world's most popular electric car does use a connector in CHAdeMO that does seem to be slightly less favoured than the last couple of years. The big upside to CHAdeMO, of course, it's bidirectional, so it's perfect for things like charging your home storage battery from your car, vehicle to grid, vehicle to home, all those kind of things. But if Renault with the Zoe, and of course part of the Nissan Renault Mitsubishi alliance, if they go with DC fast charging, plus, let's face it, some blimmin' quick AC charging if they do stick with 22, it really is just Nissan left with CHAdeMO. The big hope, of course, is that China want to develop a brand new charging standard based on the CHAdeMO protocol. And let's face it, if China go for it, it is well and truly safe. Let's move on, and Daimler announced today plans to build an R&D, a research and development centre in China with an investment of 145 million euros. It marks the further expansion of Daimler's footprint in the single largest market, China, and it's going to be its second major R&D site in Beijing, following the Mercedes-Benz R&D centre established 4 years ago. It's going to be located in the premises of their local production hub. So many car companies have got joint ventures with local Chinese companies, and theirs happens to be the Beijing Benz Automotive Company, BBAC. The R&D Tech Centre is going to allow Daimler to do things like accelerate the localization of Merc products over in China. And if you're listening to this podcast in China, I shouldn't say over there, I should say over here in China. It's scheduled to open in 2020, and being close to the production hub is going to enable them to integrate things like local production. And there's going to be a test track, test benches, and it's going to include test labs and workshops for testing all sorts of new energy vehicle technology, and powertrains, and chassis, and emissions, and things like air quality. Big investment going into China from many, including Daimler. And from the world's biggest EV market to perhaps one of the world's smallest. I love to do that on this podcast. It's not just about one single thing or maker, and we can cover every single story if I think it's interesting. If I think you'd be interested, to be honest with you. Malta. If you don't know where Malta is, by the way, let me give you a slight geography lesson, because you'd be forgiven for not knowing where Malta is. It's a very small island, and it's in the Mediterranean Sea. It's about 50 miles south of Italy. It's east of Tunisia. So yeah, Italy go down a bit, Africa go up a bit, Libya go up a bit. You get the idea. It's a very small island, but it does have 500,000 people on it, and they're getting into EVs in a rather large way. Their first green car-sharing scheme was launched today. There's about 1,000 users already registered. They're so eager to sign up for this. Now the initiative is going to allow people to share electric cars by parking them in designated spots and allowing other users to find via the app on their phone. Cars are stationary for most of the day. People working in their office, says the Transport Minister Ian Borge. According to the Times of Malta, 150 EVs are available, and the company hopes to add 150 more in the next month by the end of the year. A number of charging points have also been made available. They've got a target of 5,000 EVs on their little island by 2020, currently at 1,400 odd, so good luck to them. Well, Tesla Energy announced today that they are reducing the prices of their solar power systems by between $3,000 and $5,000 for the average homeowner. They cite improvements in what is called vertical integration. Get them with the management catchphrase. I guess it means everything's working more efficiently through the company from the top to the bottom. The reason for the price cut has been that vertical integration, reports Fred Lambert at Electric. Well, the company says that the $3,000 to $5,000 of savings for the average customer is about 10 to 15% off a whole residential solar installation. Well, alongside solar, the scale is important, because Tesla says the price reduction is going to be felt more significantly with those bigger installations, which are going to see the price drop by up to 20%. The more you buy, the more you're going to save from Tesla Solar. As of last quarter, Tesla Energy is now using its own Tesla-branded solar panels. They're made at Gigafactory 2. We don't talk about Giga 2 very much. It's for its projects mostly in California, in fairness. Furthermore, they're trying to combine their home solar with Tesla Powerwalls. All of those batteries made in Gigafactory 1 in Sparks, Nevada. That's their home storage energy device. Well, Tesla said this to Electric, and I quote, "As a result of the vertical integration of our solar products in Tesla's retail stores and the increased efficiencies we've realised over the past year by closing more expensive sales channels like door-to-door sales, we are now able to reduce prices for our solar power systems. As a result of the price change, well, the average customer is going to see savings of $3,000 to $5,000. The change, along with our push to continue shortening the time from sale to installation, will accelerate the adoption of solar and the world's transition to sustainable energy." There's that mission statement once again. The transition to sustainable energy. That's the news today. We're 10 minutes in already. I'm going to get onto your answers to this week's question of the week. It was a really simple question of the week this week. For any car that is either on the market already or coming soon, what are you most excited about? And I'm excited this week that we added a whole new channel for you to be able to feed back your answers. So you know that our friends at myev.com are busy building out their brand new website, adding stock, adding features, adding articles. They've now added a new page. If you go to myev.com, click on research at the top, and then you'll see question of the week. You can now submit your answers for question of the week online at myev.com. It's a really easy way, if you're signed up to the discuss commenting, a really easy way for you to add your answers. Phil was the very first one to do that, and Phil says this: it's got to be the refurbished electric Jaguar E-Type that he's most excited about. Just look at it, he says. Well, thank you very much to Tony, who was first out of the blocks today this week on email. Hi, Martin, I agree with you about the e-Niro. Yeah, I kicked us off last Sunday, actually, with our question of the week, and I don't often give you my opinion on question of the week because it's your bit of the show, to be honest with you. Mine was, though, the Kia e-Niro. The Hyundai Kona is lovely, but a little too small for many families. It's lovely, and just got more expensive here in the UK. Out of nowhere, overnight, price went up a couple of £1,000s. So the car I'm most excited about is the Kia e-Niro. Now, that we know from Bjorn Nyland's videos online that even in Norway there's about a 10 to 12% premium on the Niro over the Kona. So I don't expect that to be any different here in the UK or Europe or the US, but I'm still psyched about it. And so is Tony Bullock. As I said on Twitter yesterday, says Tony, if it had been available in the summer, and knowing what I know now about battery electric vehicles, listening to your podcast, I would have bought it. Instead, I went for the plug-in version, and it's absolutely brilliant. Virtually all my mileage is electric, and I'm genuinely irritated whenever I have to go beyond its range. Over a 2-month period, I've done 185 miles to the gallon. It would have been better if I hadn't done 4 long trips in a weekend recently. The e-Niro has the potential to undercut the price of the Model 3 in the UK, as well as having better range and internal capacity for those of us with a couple of older teenagers and their friends to ferry around. Our recent trip in the plug-in hybrid from southeast England to mid-Wales with 4 of us and luggage and guitars was very comfortable. Doing that in the e-Niro with the quiet and no petrol would have been perfect, says Tony. I agree. It's my favourite car that's coming soon, and I love all EVs that are on the way, but that e-Niro, man, I just think, and it wouldn't be for me, by the way. That's the kind of the weird sort of irony of the situation, the dichotomy. It's my favourite car, but yeah, I wouldn't be buying one because it's just the two of us. It's Emma and I. We haven't got the kids and we haven't got a dog and we haven't got any reason to have a massive SUV like that. That's why the Zoe's so good for us. And that's why we actually only have one car between us, because I get public transport to work and we try and take as many alternative forms of transport. We used to have 2 cars and then we went down to 1 because that's all part of helping make more sensible decisions. We had 2 cars for years and years, and I knew the time was right to get rid of the second car when we went to get in it one day and it wouldn't start because the battery was flat because we hadn't driven it in weeks. Time to get rid of it, I think. So that's our situation, and I love the e-Nero, but and I'd love it, but I just wouldn't buy one because it's more car than we need. Hello to Bruce. Bruce Miller says, I'm a current Model 3 owner, and I'm most excited about the Model Y. My fantasy is that its release coincides with the advent of full self-driving, making it possible for Tesla owners to add their own cars to the Tesla network. Imagine being able to send your car to earn money and pay for itself. Sounds fantastic, but it could happen. Bruce Miller, thank you very much. From Grand Ledge, you live. Thank you very much. Daz Saint says, I'll unlikely ever be able to afford one, but the look of the Jaguar I-Pace is his gorgeous vehicle. Great range and great tech, he says. If you are following him on Twitter, he is Hull Leaf Guy. Hello to David Nye. G'day, mate, says my friend David in Brisbane. In Brizzy, says the car I'm most excited about is the right-hand drive Model 3. When it arrives down under, can't wait. It would be the Model Y, but it's many years away yet, especially to get to Australia. Model X is too big and too expensive for us. All our children have long ago left home. Love your podcasts, mate. Bloody ripper! He didn't say that. I'm just riffing. Bit of improv. He just says cheers. Thank you, David Nye. Jack Oakley has joined in with this week's question of the week. What's your favourite, your best car around? I'm truly excited about the growth of EV adoption, says Jack Oakley. Most curious about the ones we don't know about. So he's cheating here. He says 2019 to 2021 should be exciting. But he says my current favourite is the Jaguar I-Pace. Mark Buckingham was the next to email and says, question of the week, for me, it's the Tesla semi-truck. Not for me, but it'll make the biggest difference. Difference to no more diesel. Yeah, Mark, you're right. The question wasn't what EV do you want to drive, it's what EV are you excited about, and I love that you've answered the Tesla truck, the semi-truck. Yeah, you're right. Get rid of all those hundreds of thousands of diesel trucks. Makes a big difference. By the way, Mark is loving his Kona where he listens. He's got an awesome customised plate as well, and he's in New Zealand. And thank you so much for all of your updates, Mark, that you send. Joshua Pritt says, I'm most excited about the Tesla Model 3 base model. It's the one that even more people will be able to afford. It'll move up the charts. It'll sell more than any other car. Period. It will make history, and children will learn about it like they learn about the Model T. Joshua, I don't think that's not hyperbole. I think you're absolutely right. Tim James joined in earlier this week. When it got to Tuesday, Tim emailed me to say that the car he is most looking forward to is the 4x4. And he says that he is looking forward to, even if he doesn't personally own this vehicle, I think he is all about the Bollinger B2 from the emails that we have swapped, by the way. The Tesla pickup is a pipe dream, but the Bollinger looks possible, he said. Anywhere you get fuel from has electricity to drive the electric fuel pumps. Infrastructure is rarely an issue. Also, as those fuel stations become economically unviable, solar and storage will provide two benefits to the local community. Essentially, free power and tourists and travellers paying for its maintenance. Hugh Ashbourne says, I'm always excited by Tesla models, but I'm actually excited for the ID Buzz. That'll be the Volkswagen ID Buzz. It should be the most versatile MPV ever. Flat floor, an obvious people carrier, small van, Manufacturer of weekend campers, I totally get you. The ID series, by the way. If you're new to the podcast, firstly, welcome along if this is your first one. We've all bunched up. There's room for some more. Secondly, let me introduce you to the Volkswagen MEB platform. It's the platform on which all of Volkswagen's next set of electric vehicles are going to be built. There is the Neo, which is not officially still called the Neo, but look, it's basically a Golf, but don't say that in front of VW. It's not a Golf. It's the ID Neo. It just happens to look a lot like a Golf, and it's not called a Golf. Then there's going to be the Croz, C-R-O-Z-Z, Croz, and the Buzz, B-U-Z-Z, Buzz. They like their Zs with their electric cars. And it is, yes, the Buzz is the rebooted, classic Californian VW air-cooled camper. Iconic! And so many people are so excited about it. Thank you very much, including Hugh Ashbourne. You're right, because it hasn't got to be a camper, could be a van. Hello to Christopher Davies. With the VW platform capable of four-wheel drive, I'm hoping for a four-wheel drive Volkswagen. Fingers crossed for an R version. Well, the R version is like the quick, if you like, quick version of the ID. Not a Golf. It's a Golf-sized car. Not a Golf. Call it the ID. I can only hope it will be capable of Tesla-ish performance. Yeah, me too. I really hope. Look, I love Tesla. I'm not a reservation holder of the Model 3, but many times have I sat on the reservation page of the Model 3 thinking, oh, man, it's £1,000, but I never have. And the podcast is about as agnostic as I can possibly get, being a huge admirer of Tesla. But I would really love the VW cars to be quick and to at least match the Model 3. 3.2 seconds, 0 to 60. I'd love there to be quick VWs to at least match them. Hello to, thank you very much, Ian Harley. I would have to say that although I have a Model 3 reservation, you lucky so-and-so, I think the Model Y is going to be better for us. It's probably the EV I'm most eagerly awaiting. However, I am no longer a VW fan now, for obvious reasons. Dieselgate! I'm really looking forward to the ID Buzz Camper, says Ian Harley. I've wanted a VW California for so long. Since becoming interested in EVs, I've resisted as they are diesel-powered. All right, moving on. Kyle Hodgson is a quick email. Says, I'm excited about the VW ID Buzz. That's 3 in a row. Hello to Jack Sargent, who says the EV I'm most excited about is... It's the EV made by an EV company that produces a subscription service. Jack, that's cheating. I asked you to actually name a car that is coming very soon, but I know what you mean. He wants to subscribe to his EVs. I think it's a great idea. Like, we subscribe to our broadband, our mobile phones. Why not to our cars as well? Change them every 6 months or a year. Never really own a car. We subscribe to Netflix and Spotify. It's an idea. Hello to friend of the show, Mark Garnett. A good question this week, he says. The answer has to be the Tesla truck. If Tesla achieve what has been promised... And he says, I have every confidence that Tesla will meet and exceed their specs for the lorry, but they're often late. Yeah, Elon time is getting better, I must admit. He says, by the way, be careful with the word lorry, because your USA listeners, and yeah, half the listeners to this podcast are in North America, don't know what a lorry is. But it does differentiate between truck and semi-truck. See, we say a truck is a pickup. In America, you say pickup. Or maybe you say pickup truck. But if I say truck, we are thinking 18-wheeler, what you call semi. It's a language barrier. And he says that the Tesla Semi will do more miles than a car. Yeah, you're right. They'll do 1 million miles before they're even sold on to their second owners, and emit far more pollution per miles if we don't change those commercial vehicles. It's proof of what's possible if we force the established truck manufacturers to step up their efforts, and it's the realisation that EV trucks are so much better. You're right, even the Tesla Semi is quick 0 to 60. It's a truck. It'll beat cars away from the lights, even with the trailer. Hello to Alex. Now, Alex says, firstly, I want to get Alex's surname correct. I think it's Banahini. I think. Alex emails me to say it's not Banahini, but anyway. I started listening to your podcast 4 months ago when I got myself a new 41 kilowatt hour Renault Zoe Q90. Nice! To convince myself I hadn't made a huge mistake. Well, I'm glad I'm useful. I listen to your podcast every evening on my commute home in the Zoe, and I'm in love with it. And I won't be owning an ICE car again. What car am I looking forward to? Well, the new generation 2019 Zoe is interesting. It's bold, simple lines and lack of fussiness. Recently afflicted with the Honda designs. I know what you mean, by the way. The Zoe just looks like a normal little city car. Doesn't look like an EV. So yeah, 41 kilowatt hour battery is super good for a little car like that. But we see the next generation coming early next year. One of the motor shows next year for the new Zoe, I imagine. Maybe it'll be Geneva. So we'll see. They could stick with the 41 kilowatt hour battery because it was designed to be exactly the same shape, dimensions as the battery that we've got, the small one, and maybe they'll make it a little bit bigger. I think it's LG Chem cells in the new ZE40, so we'll see what they do. They could stick with the battery. I mean, look, it does like 100 and something, late hundreds mile range on an average day. That's all the range you need. Anyway, Inga Davidson says the car I'm looking forward to is the Model Y. I can't wait to see what Tesla has come up with this time. Hello to Andrew Jacobs. I'm looking forward to the Model 3. I love the idea of autonomous driving. Imagine a road trip where you watch a movie, have a nap, you can sightsee. The inside of the 3 is designed for this. Big screen, centre of the dashboard, and nothing in front of the driver. I get exactly what you mean. Right, 4 more emails. Hello to Stefan. Stefan Kochis says, I hope I'm not late. No, you got in with a day to go. You emailed me yesterday. The EV I'm most excited about is the semi-truck, what you would call across the pond, I don't know what he says, lorries. But it's a weird spelling of lorries. Yeah, we would call it a lorry. Our entire transport industry is linked in the USA to diesel. Unlike Europe, our trains are diesel electrics. Electrification of the rails is politically not feasible. Having commercial trucking go electric excites me greatly, says Stefan. Yeah, me too, can't wait. Right, 3 more emails. Eric Kokoran. Corcoran says, the question of the week, it's my second time joining in with this. He says, I agree with your recommendation of the Kia e-Niro. I'm an American working in Europe and recently took a vacation in the US. We have 2 children and we need an EV with space and budget below $50,000 for my wife's next vehicle. We are choosing between a CPO Tesla, so certified pre-owned Tesla, or the new Kia e-Niro. Not as exciting as a Tesla, but practical, lower cost of ownership. My wife doesn't want anything like the VW ID Cross because of Dieselgate. And I agree with her. He says, so many people email me just going, look, I loved a VW, but I'm never buying another one again. Maybe it's just the amount of people that listen to this podcast that feel that way, but you wonder if you extrapolate out, how many people are still majorly peed with VW? He says, before that, I visited a Tesla showroom, but because he wasn't in the position to put money down, he was just browsing. It was hard because there were people there that they had to prioritise who were buying Teslas, and so he was kind of just looking, and that was window shopping for a Tesla didn't get as much attention. He says that he walked through the lot and saw some older Model S's that had a little bit of minor cosmetic damage and some dirt on the interior, he says, but not too much inventory before they clean them up and sell them on. Yeah, I agree. I mean, certified pre-owned is like... That's changing a little bit with Tesla these days, but certainly... even until recently, certified pre-owned, I mean, it was hard to tell it apart from a new, they would really fix up everything and make it look like a brand new car. They're not doing that as much to that crazy attention to detail level, but it's still an amazing car. If you can get a used Tesla from Tesla, amazing. Hello to Howdy YT, who says, I'm most excited about the Model 3. It's the most desired EV with the most reservations. It's affordable. It outsells BMW, Audi and Mercedes. It has over-the-air updates. I mean, that is such a huge thing. I don't talk about that enough, actually, with EVs. Yes, it does have over-the-air, like all Teslas. You wake up in the morning and your car got better overnight. It supports CCS charging in Europe, and it tells legacy car makers that EVs can be mass-produced and can be profitable. Last one today. I'm going to get this done before we get to half an hour. Hello to Nigel Mallet. Says the EV I'm looking most forward to here in Malta is the small and fun Honda Urban EV. And yes, congratulations to Honda. Round of applause. Finally, someone suggested the Urban EV, which is cute as a button and a beautiful little car. Great styling. I really hope when they finally make it that Honda do stick with the concept car look, because it's crazy beautiful. It might get toned down just a little bit, but it has the looks. It really has the looks. Hopefully it's a great car. He says, thank you for a show that covers so much. Nigel, thank you for joining in with the programme. Should we set a brand new question? Here we go then, thanks to our friends at myev.com. Here's a brand new question of the week. You can email hello@evnewsdaily.com. You can, of course, go to myev.com now. Click on research at the top of the page and then question of the week. You can leave your comments there and see everyone else's. And you can use the YouTube, Facebook comments and my blog as well. Here's the question. Since most dealers today are not well educated in EVs and don't even carry enough inventory, what would you choose? Going to a dealer, how it's always been done, or would you use a service where an EV, any EV of your choice, could be brought to your house for a test drive and you'll be educated all about it, then you can make an informed decision, but you do pay a fee for that. So what do you prefer? The model as it is at the moment with dealers, but you'd like them to get their act together? Or would you try new things, like an EV being brought to your door, have some time with it, and someone talks you around it, but there is a small fee to pay for that service? What's the best way that you would like to move forward? Thank you very much to 120 patrons of the podcast, whose generosity means that I get to make the show, you get to listen to it for free, and if you'd like to be the 121st patron, I'd love to be reading out your name on the podcast. Thank you very much to Phil Roberts from Electric Future. Phil is not only the main man for things like solar and storage, but we're looking forward to catching up with him very soon. He's from Electric Future and a premium partner of the show. Hello to our partners of the podcast, Cesar Trujillo, who I love to follow on Twitter. Hello to David Allen. Hello to OEM Audio of New Zealand and evpower.co.nz. Yes, if you are in New Zealand and you need your accessories for your EV, check them out, evpower.co.nz, and Sasha Pallenberg as well. Sasha is a huge knowledge on not just EVs, but super tech things, and I love seeing his tweets. And hello to all of our executive producers as well. That would be Ashley Hill, Arid Gear Skralsveen. Hello to Bjard Fuchstak, Brian Weatherall, Chris Benson, Chris Hopkins, Darren Bird, David Partington, David Prescott, Damian Davis, Don McAllister, George Clargo, Jack Oakley, John Bailey, John H. Mayer III, John Timmis, Kevin Mayerson, Louis Hopkin, Luke Cully, Marcel Lohman, Marcel Ward, Maz Shah, Martin Croft, Matthew Ellis, Matthew Gruby, Neil E. Roberts from Sussex EVs, Paul Stevenson, Paul Seeger-Smith, Philippe Calvet, Raj Bedwell. I was focusing so much on getting his surname right, I cocked up his first name, and it's the easiest one to say in the world. Raj Bedwell. Hello to Renee Schneider, Rod James, Scott Callahan, and the Limousine Line in Sydney. There are 299 previous episodes. Yes, for those who passed maths in school, this is episode 300. Blummeneck. We got there. You can get those from all of the usual place you get podcasts from. You can subscribe, which means you haven't got to think about downloading it every day. Get them first and free and automatically, and you can catch up on the socials anytime you want to. I'm on Facebook, LinkedIn and Twitter. In the meantime, have a wonderful day. I will catch you tomorrow.